Emotions attractive, deeply encoded. The green glow of the microwave clock showed 2:30 a.m. Simone hadn't really slept for weeks. Her husband, Devon, hadn't been home much, and his silence spoke louder than any confession ever could. She didn't need proof anymore. She already knew. Every night she sat awake, not out of hope, but because she was waiting for the truth to finish revealing itself. She had spent months noticing every detail. The times he came home, the new smells on his clothes. He no longer smelled like the sandalwood cologne she used to buy him, the one that once reminded her of love and peace. Now his scent was sharp, heavy, and foreign, mixed with perfume and cheap desire. When he came home that night, he didn't bother to be quiet. He walked in loudly, his expensive shoes echoing on the tile. The condo, bought with her savings and his loans, filled with the sound of his voice, thick with alcohol. He looked perfect, as always, wearing a new deep blue shirt she had never seen before. The smell of an unfamiliar cologne filled the room. The top buttons were open, his chest showing just enough to signal arrogance. His face gleamed with pride, but to Simone, it was only repulsive. She wondered how she had ever mistaken him for the man she married, the hopeful young man who once dreamed, not the vain, hollow salesman who now stood before her. Simone stood by the window, wrapped in her soft cashmere robe. Her face was calm, no tears, no shouting, only a stillness that came from months of quiet resolve. Devon thought her silence meant defeat. He didn't understand that she had already stopped being his wife in her heart. She was only observing now, collecting the last pieces of evidence. For 5 years, she had believed that patience and forgiveness would bring him back. Instead, he saw her as weak, a piece of furniture in his perfect home. The love she once felt had died, replaced by a steady, cold determination. He swaggered closer, mocking her with cruel words. He wanted a reaction, shouting, crying, anything that would make him feel powerful again. But Simone said nothing. She just exhaled, as if releasing the last piece of her disappointment. Her silence made him uneasy. It stripped him of victory. When she turned and walked away without a word, it unsettled him more than any argument could. He poured himself another drink, thinking she had nowhere to go, that the mortgage bound her to him forever. He was wrong. Her quiet sigh had already been her goodbye. Later, when he passed out drunk beside her, Simone lay awake. The smell of alcohol and perfume lingered, but she ignored it. She stared at the city lights reflected in the window and thought, I'm not waiting for this storm to end. I'm waiting for the one I'll start myself. 17 days earlier, she had stopped crying and started planning. His latest affair had given her the perfect opening. Devon's biggest deal, the sale of a luxury house, was about to bring him a huge commission. What he didn't know was that the buyers, Marcus and Tasha Jones, were old friends of Simone's. Through them, she learned the house had serious structural flaws, something Devon had hidden to make the sale. Exposing that secret would destroy his career and reputation. Her mother's voice echoed in her mind from their last visit. Don't use hot fire, child. It burns you before your enemy. Use cold fire, justice, not revenge. Find what he loves most and take it away with calm precision. Now, as Devon snored beside her, Simone sat on the edge of the bed, her feet on the cold marble floor. The chills seeped into her bones, but her resolve burned steady and clear. The time for cold fire had come. He's a house of cards, Simone thought, and I pulled the first one the moment I stopped loving him. Now I just need one last breath to bring it all down. She moved carefully, her every action measured. From a drawer hidden under old blueprints, she took out a small, battered flip phone, one she had used years ago while traveling. It had stayed there, untouched, waiting for this exact night. When she turned it on, The faint blue screen lit up her calm face. Her eyes didn't blink. Her fingers moved swiftly over the keys as she typed a short, cold message to Marcus and Tasha Jones. The Stonehaven deal is off. Devon is a fraud. Call me tomorrow at 9 a.m. Do not sign anything. I have undeniable proof of the concealed foundation flaw. She pressed send. The tiny click of the button sounded like a final nail sealing a coffin. Then she switched the phone off, slipped it into her pocket, and walked quietly out of the room. Devon slept heavily, lost to alcohol and arrogance. In the kitchen, Simone poured herself a glass of cold water and sat by the window. The city outside looked washed out under the first hint of dawn. She wasn't seeking drama, revenge, or public scandal. Her purpose was clean and simple: to destroy the things he worshipped most: wealth, power, and pride. She would end him not with fire, but with logic and truth. By sunrise, she had already showered and dressed. Her navy suit fit her perfectly, sharp and professional. The smell of coffee filled the silent condo. Devon was still snoring, blissfully unaware that his life was falling apart. At 7, he finally stirred. His head throbbed, but he smiled smugly when he saw the empty side of the bed. She left early because she's ashamed, he told himself. He didn't know she was already miles ahead of him. He ate stale bagels and scrolled through real estate news on his tablet, daydreaming about the expensive car he planned to buy once his deal closed. In 2 days, he would be rich. He felt untouchable. But the countdown to his ruin had already begun. At 8:30, the cheap phone on the counter started ringing. Annoyed, he answered. "Yeah," he muttered. "It's Simone, Tasha Jones. We got your message. What is going on? A fraud? Are you saying Devon lied to us?" The blood drained from his face. "Tasha, wait! This is Devon. She must be mistaken. She's emotional. You know how women get." "Don't insult me," Tasha snapped. "Your wife said you hid foundation issues. Marcus checked the plans. She's right. How could you do this?" He panicked. "They're just surface cracks. I was going to tell you." "After we paid? After we moved in?" she interrupted. Her tone was icy. "We trusted you. You've ruined that. We're contacting your boss, and for the record, Simone already sent us the evidence." Emotions attractive deeply, the call ended with a loud click. The silence afterward was deafening. Devon stood frozen, the phone trembling in his hand. His heart raced. Everything, the sale, the commission, his reputation, had collapsed in an instant. Before he could think, his real phone rang. Adrian Sterling, his boss. Devon swallowed hard and answered. "Devon," Adrian's voice thundered, "what the hell have you done? The Joneses called me. They have proof you hid structural damage. Screenshots, reports, everything. Do you realize this could cost us our licenses? You've destroyed our reputation." Devon stammered. "Adrian, it's just a misunderstanding." "Don't lie to me," Adrian roared. "You betrayed our clients for greed. You've doomed us all." Devon's knees gave out. The room spun. His breath came in short, panicked bursts. He finally understood. Simone hadn't been broken or silent. She had been patient, watching, planning. And now, with one quiet message, she had ended him completely. Adrian Sterling's voice turned cold, colder than any scream Devon had ever heard. He said quietly, "Throw away your office key. It won't open anything anymore. Your computer is already locked. You're finished here, Devon. Fired. Not just fired, disgraced. I'll make sure every firm in the city knows you're a liar and a cheat. Your name will be poison. No one will hire you, ever. You'll never sell another property again. And if Marcus and Tasha take legal action, which they will, I'll give them everything. Every email, every detail, now get lost. Then the line went dead. The long, flat tone in his ear felt like the sound of his entire life ending. Devin stood frozen, staring at nothing. He had lost not just his job, but everything that made him who he thought he was. His pride, his plans, his future. His entire life had been built on lies, and now it was all collapsing around him. He dropped onto the sofa, gasping, dizzy. The silence in the apartment was unbearable. He looked down at his expensive phone, the same one he had once used to brag and flirt, and now it felt like a weapon turned against him. A notification blinked on the screen. A new message from the bank. It read, "Dear co-borrower Devin Vance, this notice confirms that your co-borrower Simone P. Rhodes has requested restructuring of the joint mortgage and division of marital assets. Please report to the bank to discuss the terms within 3 business days. Failure to respond will result in a court-led division, prioritizing the financially stable co-borrower Simone Rhodes." Devin felt his stomach twist. She wasn't just leaving him, she was taking everything. The house, the money, the security. Simone, the quiet woman he had once dismissed as dull independent, had struck him where it hurt most. His wallet and his pride. She was calm, strategic, and completely ruthless. She had planned this, step by step, and he never saw it coming. Panicking, he called Tiffany. She was supposed to be his escape, the young, beautiful woman who had made him feel powerful. "Tiffany, it's me," he said shakily. "I've been fired. Simone's tearing me apart. She's after the house, the money, everything. I need you. I need a place to stay." For a moment, there was silence. Then Tiffany's voice came, soft but annoyed. "You're fired? How? You told me you were closing a huge deal. You said you'd be rich tomorrow." "I was set up," he cried. "She ruined me." Another long pause. "Devin, this isn't my problem. I can't have someone like you in my apartment. You said you were successful. That's what this was about. Stability. You don't have that anymore. You're a risk. Don't call me again." The line went dead again. Devin stared at his reflection in the dark window. He looked like a stranger, pale, desperate, small. Everything that made him feel important was gone. Days passed. He tried calling clients, colleagues, even his old boss, but no one would speak to him. Word had already spread. He was finished. The man once known for his charm and ambition had become a ghost in a wrinkled shirt, living on instant noodles and regret. Meanwhile, Simone was building a new life with quiet precision. She had already secured a better job, a solid future, and the respect she'd been denied for years. Her plan had been simple, to free herself completely. She didn't act out of rage, but from calm determination. She told herself, this isn't revenge, it's balance. Devin had taken her peace and her pride. Now she had taken back her freedom. And as he fell deeper into ruin, she walked away, calm, composed, and finally untouchable. Her silence was his punishment, her success, his final defeat. Simone was busy creating her new life, one that was small but solid. She worked hard every day, focusing on her job, her goals, and her future. She had no time or interest to think about Devin anymore. To her, he was just a painful memory, something that belonged completely to the past. Another month went by, and the condo they once shared was officially sold. The court made sure the sale went through quickly to protect Simone's finances. Devin stayed there until the last possible moment because he had nowhere else to go. His last attempt to find help was calling his distant relative, Auntie Clarice, a strict, religious woman, but she refused coldly. "You've disgraced yourself, Devin. You must deal with your own mess. I cannot take in a public failure." So, Devin slept on an old mattress he dragged out of the attic, surrounded by empty rooms that echoed his downfall. Every mark on the wall reminded him of what he had lost. Not just the furniture and money, but his pride and false sense of power. Desperate, he tried to see Simone again. He waited outside her new company's tall glass building, hoping she would show him some pity or allow him a second chance. When he finally saw her leaving with two confident coworkers, he ran toward her, shouting her name. His voice cracked, his clothes were wrinkled and dirty, and his face looked swollen and tired. Simone stopped. Her expression was calm, but cold. Her posture strong and dignified. She didn't look at him with hatred, only a kind of final distance. Her colleagues looked confused, but she simply shook her head, signaling that he was no one to her anymore. "Mr. Vance, if you have legal matters, speak to my lawyer. Otherwise, we have nothing left to discuss. We're finished in every sense." Devon's voice broke as he pleaded, "Simone, we were a family. You ruined me, left me with nothing." She stepped closer, her tone steady. "No, Devon, you ruined yourself. You thought money could replace respect and lies could replace loyalty. I didn't destroy you. I only showed you what you really are." Then she turned away and left him standing in the street, screaming into the noise of the city that didn't care enough to listen. When he finally had to leave the condo, he packed his few things into old cardboard boxes. The new owners waited impatiently in the hall, looking at him with disgust. Without a word, he left the keys behind and walked away, dragging his past with him. He moved in with Auntie Clarice after she reluctantly agreed to take him in. Her house was small, musty, and smelled of dust and age, a far cry from his once luxurious life. She constantly reminded him how foolish he had been. Simone was quiet, but deep, she told him while he worked in her garden. You were all noise and no depth. Devon's humiliation grew every day. He eventually took a job as a warehouse laborer, believing it was temporary. But his bad reputation followed him everywhere. No one wanted to hire a man accused of fraud. His hands grew rough, his back ached, and his sharp suits were replaced by dirty uniforms. He was no longer admired or respected, just invisible. One evening, while sitting at Auntie Clarice's old kitchen table, he received a final call from Simone's lawyer. "Mr. Vance, all legal matters are settled. Simone now owns her home outright and has invested in further education. She's completed her master's degree and holds a global certification. She's thriving." Devon's heart sunk. "And me?" he asked weakly. The lawyer's voice was flat. "You, Mr. Vance, received exactly what you earned, the total collapse of your false life. Simone feels nothing for you. Not hate, not pity, just indifference." Devon hung up slowly. Simone hadn't just defeated him. She had done it with quiet grace and absolute precision. He looked at his calloused hands and realized that the woman he had once mocked as plain had surpassed him completely. She had rebuilt her life from truth, while he was left to face the wreckage of his own deceit. And in that lonely kitchen, Devon finally understood losing everything was the only way he could see who he really was.